compounded now by U.S. sanctions. Up to 100 towns across the country have now seen these protests, and up to 59 people are reported to have died. Roads have been blocked, cars have been burned, banks, fuel stations, government buildings attacked after the regime decided to raise their gas prices by 50%. But many people are also angry at Iran's spending abroad on wars in Syria and elsewhere, and they're angry at the endemic corruption and the low quality of life. To try and contain all this, the Iranian government have arrested over 1,000 people, and in a very rare move yesterday, they shut down nearly all the internet. Well, today, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo showed his support for the protesters, tweeting, "The United States hears you, the United States supports you, the United States is with you." This rise in gas prices up to 50 cents a gallon was supported by the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, who has called the protesters thugs who had been pushed into violence by foreign enemies. And he also signaled a potential crackdown.
These type of evil acts solve no problems. They add insecurity to whatever problems exist. Insecurity is the biggest tragedy for every country and every society.
Anger in Iran, though, has been simmering for many years now. As sanctions have hit, the currency, the rial, has plummeted, prices have skyrocketed, and the mullahs there just can't offer basic services to the people. As such, and combined with some resistance groups that we're seeing inside and out of the National Council for the Resistance of Iran, this is becoming a real problem for the regime, and we are seeing it now flood out onto the streets. Arthel?
Benjamin Hall, thank you very much, Benjamin. Eric?
Well, could these protests finally lead to a tipping point atop of the theocratic dictatorship as the opposition is seemingly gaining strength? Rebecca Grant joins us, national security military analyst, president of IRIS Independent Research. So, Dr. Grant, we just heard protests in 100 streets, chance of death to the dictator. How widespread do you think is the dissatisfaction and the anger by the Iranian people against the ruling regime?
Eric, this was really the last straw, raising the gasoline prices. Iran subsidizes gasoline, and to see them go up 50% and in some cases 300%, really the last straw. And it shows us how powerful the U.S. maximum pressure policy has been. I don't think Rouhani wanted to do this, but he has had no choice in reacting to that maximum pressure policy.
So do you, in terms of that, what do you think? The National Council of Resistance of Iran, the largest Iranian opposition group, Benjamin referred to that group in his report. We just saw the videos from them. They claim that some of their units are responsible for a lot of these protests. We've talked to some of those protesters in the past. Maryam Rajavi, who's the head of that group today, met with former General James Jones, former Allied Supreme Commander, National Security Director for President Obama there in Albania. And this is what she said, quote, "The Iranian people and youth are resisting the mullah's suppression. The regime is mistaken to think that it can stop the uprising through killings and arrests. The Iranian people and resistance have pledged to overthrow this regime and establish peace, democracy, and people's sovereignty in Iran. Under such circumstances, the international community, especially the United States, must support the rightful demands of the Iranian people to overthrow this regime and establish freedom and democracy in Iran."